The notebook LLM is insane. It's like basically creating pods for you from scratch, which is nuts. I'm not publishing from that, but like the efficiency gains there are crazy. So I'm wanting to continue to test that.
Before we jump into today's episode, I just want to remind you guys that the biggest affiliate marketing event in the world is back for 2025. It is Affiliate Summit West, and it is going down February 3rd through February 5th in Las Vegas. Guys, if you want to meet and hang out with 7,000 of the world's top advertisers, affiliates, publishers, sellers, tech providers, networks, all in one place, you have to be at Affiliate Summit West. And right now, as a listener of the Boost podcast, they are hooking you up with 15% off of your ticket. Just use the code BOOST15. That is BOOST15 when you register. Save 15% on your ticket. The link is below and in the description to grab your ticket. Now, guys, Affiliate Summit West is the home of affiliate marketing because after all, 76% of affiliates prefer Affiliate Summit West over any other event. I'll be there. I hope to see you there. Use the code BOOST15. Save 15%. Now, let's jump into today's episode. Hello guys, welcome back to the Boost presented by Grommet and Affiliate Summit, and I am so excited today. I met this guy back at Affiliate Summit East. I was fortunate to be a guest on his podcast, but one of the things that I'm excited about every single week or every single time it hits my inbox is his newsletter. And a recent newsletter that he sent, I literally forwarded a different part of it to everyone on my team. I was like, you need to read this piece. You need to read this piece. And so I'm so excited to have him today talking about some hot takes going into 2025 when it comes to affiliates, publishers, networks, all of these different things. So we got my man, Tye DeGrange on. What's happening, my man? How are you?
Great to see you, Greg. Love it. Happy to be here and happy soon to be holiday season.
I know. As we kick kind of things in, you have a lovely background today. So tell everybody, where is it more beautiful than they are today? Where are you coming from? And kick it off. Maybe a little just something fun about anything you're doing for the holidays or anything you're looking forward to.
Let's just say, it's gorgeous here in Austin, Texas. We're loving it. It feels like we're winding down the year. Excited about taking some relaxing time. It was unseasonably warm here, but we were taking it. And now it's like perfect. It's like 40 in the morning and, cold in the evening. And then during the day, it's like 60, 65, which is way nice. Beautiful, clear day. Last night we did the Trail of Lights in Austin, which I highly recommend. Took the kiddos. I think I joked with my wife today that it almost turned into the Trail of Tears because we had some falls, we had some slipping, we had some challenges getting there because there's like a million people trying to get to it. But all in all, it was a success. My 4-year-old daughter and my 2-year-old son were pointing out things and calling out all the characters, and it was amazing. Zilker Park was basically one big light show. Very fun, holiday, festive, so highly recommend it.
I love that. Great background, great backdrop, and it's a good backdrop to talk about some of the craziness that's happened in our industry over the past year and what to either look forward to, maybe in a good way, or things that we need to really consider in our business going into 2025. And the newsletter, I'll make sure that we get a link to it and people to sign up to it. But the one that we're going to reference a lot is one where you said it's time for 2024 to die hard. And so little Bruce Willis reference there. And I think the biggest eye-opening thing I saw was when you started talking about Google as a traffic source for a lot of major publishers. And we're talking about big drops. We're not talking about like 5% drop in traffic. We're talking, CNN underscored, search visibility dropping by 63%, Forbes Advisor, 43%, Wall Street Journal buy side, 77%, and you have a whole list of these. This is significant when it comes to traffic, especially when we're relying on that as a major traffic source. If we are a publisher, if we're a blogger, if we're an influencer, if we have a review site, something like that, what is going on? What is the state of Google search traffic as we end 24 going into 2025? Let's start there, and then I'll get maybe some hot takes and predictions for next year.
Yeah, for sure. And this is a tricky one because I don't want to get too hot takey, and then but I think it's definitely coming for these sites. Like Google seems to have in the crosshairs some of the affiliate monetization, some of the their eat methodology, trying to talk about like the making sure they have the quality levels and the authenticity and authority. And I think that you're seeing these updates hit hard, and obviously, if things are being used to generate via AI, that's challenging. You have AI kind of coming for the experience in general anyway, right? Like a lot of the snippets and AIO kind of reducing traffic. We did an analysis firsthand this last year, and saw about a 10% decline in content sites. So not as dramatic as what was reported here. I'm relaying a lot of what was reported by others. We're fortunately not seeing as aggressively a drop for our partners. I'm not, but then again, you're seeing people have to reduce staff and do some pretty drastic things over the course of 2024 as this has hit. So I think people in the affiliate world are definitely taking notice. It's definitely concerning. You're kind of trying to read between the tea leaves of what Google's saying and what they're signaling here. It's not an easy one to navigate.
Yeah, I recently just did a publishers roundtable with the folks at Affiliate Summit, and this was by far the number one hot topic that everyone's talking about. Because if this is how whether you're trying to create arbitrage with display ads or programmatic, or you're trying to drive traffic for maybe a brand that paid for a brand partnership, and you're not getting the volume of traffic you had before, that could be detrimental to your business. So maybe what's a hot take or a prediction, or if you're someone who relies on search traffic, especially from Google, where are we going in 2025? What can we do to maybe combat this, to think about this? Because this could be, detrimental for a lot of folks.
Yeah, my hot take is that we're kind of moving from like the attention era to the trust and authenticity era. And I think that you're going to see, I think, these publications, these affiliates, these creators really kind of lean into like that expertise and authenticity and trust. And I think everything we're focused on is in that vertical. We're going to be hearing a lot more from me on that topic, and I think this is part of that process that we're seeing. It's not that these publications are bad. It's not that these publications are, but you're seeing this general trend of consumers really not relying as much on the traditional publications, traditional news media, traditional channels. You're seeing them really grab a hold of maybe one particular writer, Substack. We appreciate you giving props to the RBL Flywheel newsletter, right? As a small example, right? That's just happening across the board. And I don't think people always realize how dramatic it is. And so I think that winners in the affiliate world and in the publication world are going to really take some of these signals, which are reasonable, and also address this trend that we're seeing. It's not just about the clickbait and the volume game and the gamification, and some of it's good in value, but Google is really calling it out. Like they really want to reward those that are true experts, that are true. I think there's an additional level of validation and authenticity that's happening. So I think people are going to think, just be more thoughtful about it. And I think unfortunately, it takes time to build that up. Just like a lot of these long-term channels, PR, affiliate, SEO, like these things take time. And so I don't think people fully know how Google's going to shake out on it. I think these signals are hitting people, but I would expect some of them to get really creative, really maybe aggressive, maybe trim down teams, maybe think about, can they lean into that authenticity? Can they start new channels? Can they connect with their enthusiasts and their audience more effectively? Maybe it's not as broad, but maybe it's deeper and more connected. Easier said than done, but I think that a lot of publications are going to have to do that to rise above the noise. So that's kind of where my thinking goes.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in everything you just said, and I think conceptually it's easier said than done, right? Always. Yeah. But I do believe that we're shifting from brand-based media and recommendations to personalized based recommendations, from the sense that and I'm not going to pick on any specific publication, but instead of a publication recommending a product, it's Tye from the publication recommending a product. And Tye has these values. He likes these things. This is his personality. I resonate with Tye, so I might take his recommendation more seriously than I do just from the publication as a whole. I think that's part of it. And so I think that's piece one is, like you said, like, that's why a lot of these writers are moving to Substack, because people want to follow the human behind it and not necessarily the publication behind it, which is a big shift, right? That's tough to do. It's also tough to sell ads that way. Like, I only want to run ads on Tye's articles on this publication instead of run a site or whatever it is. And then the second thing that I'm a huge believer in is obviously first party media, like, meaning like, let's build our email lists. Let's segment our email lists. Let's have an email list for our publication, but let's segment it for, all right, Tye just wrote a new article. Let's just send it to everybody who's visited one of Tye's articles in the past 30, 60, 90 days. Let's utilize this media that we own and control and leverage Google. Like, let's still use Google as a traffic source, but everyone who comes to our site, why are we not collecting their emails? Why are we not retargeting them? Why are we not following up with them? So that we can now start to control more of our distribution instead of relying on Google as a distribution point. So that's where my head is at. I don't know if you have anything to add on to, like, on top of that.
It's spot on. And I think there's some of it, a little bit of Back to the Future happening, right? Like, you've seen people kind of reach back to the value of brand building, and Nike was a big one. I think some of the marketing leadership recognized that they were kind of chasing the programmatic performance so aggressively that they kind of lost sight of some of the, like, important storytelling elements that made them so great. So I think that some are observing that change and knowing that, like, okay, we've kind of proved that the brand performance needs to have kind of a reasonable alignment and seat at the table, and don't lose sight of one. A good example of that was, back in the old days when I was at eBay, bring a trailer. I bring him out so many times, but just the perfect example of a basic blog from the 2000s that took shape in the 2010s and really just captured the imagination of all these classic car enthusiasts like you couldn't believe. And I think you're gonna see more examples of that type of thing, I think, coming back in vogue, where it's like, those things are there and they exist now, but I think that's a good example of what I think would work better in this era, where some of the larger platform things that Google's not as a fan of now are going to do better.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, let's jump ship to our second topic of the day. So we talked to Google. I want to talk about AI. You can't escape AI today. You're hearing about it everywhere. There's another webinar service popping up every single day. You wrote in the newsletter that we're referencing that AI is eating the world and it's coming for marketing. So give us some hot takes on where AI is coming from marketing, and maybe some things that we can proactively do to kick off 2025, either to use it, to learn it, to leverage it. Just share kind of the state of AI.
Yeah. I had a really fun conversation here in Austin at the Capital Factory with some really great AI leaders and kind of thinking through where are they investing, what are they building in AI. The amount of tools is crazy. I would 100% agree. It seems like, you're seeing some of the headlines of people saying, hey, we're going to decrease XYZ headcount, or we're going to not hire as much and then be able to do XYZ. The one thing that blew me away recently was the Google Mid-Journey kind of competitor that came out, and like the quality level literally just days ago seems to be yet again another step forward in the video creation just with text prompts. And you're just like, oh my God, where is this going to be in 2 years? So I definitely believe that the progress, the accuracy, the quality is going to continue. It does though seem that going back to what we said, the human element is so critical, and it seems like the ability to get your operational improvements, get the system improvements, get your workflow improvements with a lot of the tooling and AI, and get some of that. You can crank out more. You can crank out a draft, but the human curation, the human fixing, the human strategy has to be there. And I think I've yet to see it to where you don't have an ability to go, okay, I know this was created by somebody. I know this was the story behind it. And I think we're going to get to a place where, like, that's never, I don't think that's going to necessarily go away. you want to know that it was crafted by Greg, even if Greg used 80 different AI tools to make a better video than John Doe. I think that this came up when I spoke to Gong, the CMO of Gong, former CMO of Gong. It was an amazing conversation thinking about B2B and how does B2B marketing shift and change in AI. They've gone really deep in that. They're offering it. Um, I think humans are going to win in that. I think the secret is going to be definitely doing the homework, definitely learning about these tools, definitely going deep into understanding the AI and adopting these things to make your life and workflow easier and your business workflow easier. But when it comes down to it, I definitely don't think we're going to be, um, uh, I think we're going to have as much human need for human insights and assessments of said tools as much as we were before. And so I think we may hold off on certain things, basic creative, basic copy A/B testing. You've already got really great tooling that Webflow has. They've acquired technology that allows them to run A/B tests on site with using AI. And yeah, like a lot of the media buying things are going to get more and more automated. AppLovin's coming with their AI answer to lookalike content, lookalike audiences on across the web and on mobile, right? Like all of that stuff's happening. Google and Meta are taking the reins away from media buyers more. So, it is going to take away some, but I think it's going to add others. Again, hard to say, but I definitely think that the humans are still going to be quite valuable in this ecosystem.
Yeah, I think the human side of it, what we just talked about, right? Like people want to now connect with other humans, right? At a higher level. I'm going to throw this question to you in a second, but I'll kind of talk for a second to get your brain going. Is like, maybe what are you either doing in your own workflow or what are you encouraging some of your clients to do when it comes to AI? And I'll just share like one of the things that we do at Grommet. We do a ton of interviews with brands, with the makers that are on the Grommet site. And I have them almost all like, well, we do like an interview and I'm like, hey, here's 10 questions that I want you to answer. Why don't you just do it as an audio note? Then you don't have to type, out answers to all these questions. I'm literally taking that audio note, throwing it into Otter.ai, and then I'm throwing that right into ChatGPT. And I'm like, transcribe this for me, edit it for me, put it in a format for me, organize it for me. And then I'll come in and then I do the manual, the human side of it, right? I put my spin on it. Why were they a good fit for Grommet? How did they and then again, run it back through as a pass for like editing. But this has exponentially changed my workflow because now I could do 20 interviews a week instead of 2 interviews a week because I'm not having to do that manual, the thinking part of it. Now I can just add the human element to it. And that's been huge for us because now we get these original content pieces with original content from our brands and our makers, but we didn't have to spend, dozens and dozens of human hours or hiring staff and writers to do that. That's been a huge workflow, for us from that side. So that's just an example of one way that we're using it to create a larger volume of what I think is actually better content than we were creating before, but leveraging AI and the speed of which it does. So all that to say, let's throw it back to you. That's one example. Anything that you're maybe recommending to some of your clients and partners, or maybe that you're doing in your own workflow that has, maybe been something beneficial to you?
Yeah, I think that the recommendation and direction we're going in is kind of everyone having their like own AI stack. And um, right now I'm getting a ton of value out of the Grammarly stuff. I'm getting a ton of value out of Perplexity. The Notebook LLM is insane. It's like basically creating pods for you from scratch, which is nuts. I'm not publishing from that, but like the efficiency gains there are crazy. So I'm wanting to continue to test that. Testing Delphi, which is basically like cloning yourself, which is kind of scary and wild and cool. So I think there's a way to kind of get outsized impact with one individual, which you're alluding to. And I think ideally at our RBL, our organization, everyone can kind of take advantage of that and get compounding gains from their awesome brain power and their skill set and their creativity and their knowledge, but then expand that with 2 or 3 key tools. We're also doing a cool kind of internal contest deal to like come up with some really awesome use cases based on a few AIs. We've got Gemini pulled into everything Google related. I think that still has a way to go, but I know the adoption is going crazy there. And we're already like blown away by some of the stuff like our data team and our team is coming up with, which is really exciting. I know of folks that are literally pulling in all their customer data into and using Claude to run queries on it and to ask it questions just to learn about, hey, are we seeing people retain as at the rate we want? Are we seeing people using the product at the rate we want? So those smart, SaaS product growth people are basically being able to build out their own, Claude instance and then run questions and queries and get insights on that. So that's kind of what some of the immediate things that I'm seeing and what we're recommending to people. That's pretty cool.
I love that. So much good stuff in there to unpack. So make sure you use AI and transcribe the last 5 minutes and learn how to use that stuff in your own business. All right, this should be a quick one. Just quick hot take on, now let's talk about diversity, right? We talked about Google earlier. Hot take on if you were to diversify your traffic sources in 2025, where would you start to look to take some of your dollars and invest? And that could be, we want to invest in organic, or we want to go invest in like a platform that seemed to pop up out of nowhere in Q4, like AppLovin, right? Like what's your hot take on what traffic diversification strategy would you at least start to move some bucket of resources into?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. So you're thinking consumer tech, ecom?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that for me, I think TikTok's is got the battle being thrown to them right now, and I don't know how that's going. I think it's going down the path of a sale, or a sale without the algorithm or something crazy. It's not looking great. I don't necessarily think it's going to be gone right away. I think there's a lot of great users there that want to have a good experience, and so, but it's tricky. I think there's a lot of folks that are concerned there, and I definitely think it's very valid. I think I've heard that's some quite concerning things there, and I don't think we're necessarily going, okay, you're going to bet a lot on that. For now, I think AppLovin is actually onto something. I think from the results we're getting back, from what we're hearing, the information we're getting back, I don't think it's going to take over the number one slot tomorrow, but I think it's encouraging, actually. And I think there's hype there, but I think a lot of that hype seems to be through some validation. I think some of the negative stuff I'm hearing, I'm trying to learn about, but I don't necessarily agree with some of those takes. I would say that we're seeing a lot of success with getting non-connected TV on a CPA and getting those types of things going. Some of that Back to the Future, but do it well and intelligently. I don't think content is dead as a channel either. I think that you've got, the pie might shift a little. I don't think it's going to necessarily contract fully. We're not seeing it go away. I think brands and clients are really wanting that, and so we're not losing that out. And I think Google and Meta are also adapting. A lot of these incumbent channels are not necessarily like losing out. Obviously, I think search volume is going to, cede some to the Chat GPT and the Perplexity and the Search GPT stuff. But I think it's going to take some time. I think people starting to carve out a percentage of time to like, hey, how can we optimize and get inclusion on these queries and on these AI platforms is going to be huge. I think that, trying to get kind of media buyers on a CPA through platforms is something that it's valuable, because you can kind of enlist their help if you have the volume. Hey, don't touch these channels, but go hard after these. See, these are the parameters, and see what they come back with. Leverage those smart affiliates that are the canaries in the coal mine, that are in the lab, kind of testing a lot of these things, and can be aggressive about it. Sometimes you need to be a little bit more of an advanced volume brand, good conversion rate to justify that. Maybe have some, VIP budget set aside to kind of dangle that carrot for those partners. But I think that's a really good opportunity as well. That's kind of where my head. I mean, and if the TikTok ban goes through, you should, maybe there'll be some swing and bounce back on YouTube and Reels and Snap. I don't. It's hard to say. I wouldn't be, I'm not exactly bullish on TikTok being able to keep it going based on what the signals to the incoming administration are saying.
Yeah. Love that. Great insights there. Lots to unpack. And again, I think the big note here is, again, if you're relying, I think the two biggest, like TikTok and Google, if those are your only two traffic sources, start figuring out and allocating resources. It doesn't mean you add 10 new channels tomorrow, right? But look at some of the ones that I just broke down and think about how can you allocate 10% of time, 10% of budget, whatever it is, to start building some of these diversified sources. As we are talking right now, we're a couple weeks removed from Black Friday, Cyber Monday. If you only read Twitter headlines, it was great, right? Everything's gold again, right? After a kind of a tough year in e-commerce, in the affiliate space, it seems like everybody's like, oh, it was amazing. What are some of your hot takes on Black Friday, Cyber Monday? Do you think this was like a veil just because of the time of year? Do you think that we're back, like things are back and we're good? What are some signals that we can take from Black Friday, Cyber Monday into, and again, not just Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but that this holiday shopping season that we can take into 2025?
Yeah. It seems like it's moving to like November, December, as opposed to like this one event. Like it used to be a little bit more peakish, if you will. And it kind of moved to like the Cyber 5, they kind of dubbed it. And now it's almost like become, entire months. Obviously those Cyber 5 are still real. I'm taken back by like the cost of traffic. It was an expensive time, more so even than even last year, which is notable. I think those costs are going up, which I think starting to get people's wheels turning about the diversification conversation, the efficiency of affiliate conversation, the how do we build out organic more conversation. Like it's a battle out there in general, I think, for Fido mindshare and wallet right now. And yeah, you had a good point. It's like, we were lucky on our portfolio. We had big year-over-year gains in the revenue generating activities, the positive CPA, the revenue, the ROAS. It seems like a lot of people were echoing that back. But, I think you're right. I think some of the e-com stuff was struggling and softer and that's not what gets shouted from the rooftops, right? But I think there is pockets of positivity there that are leading to some of those numbers to be able to happen. So we were pleasantly surprised. It just seemed like traffic was very expensive relative to last year, and then performance was up significantly relative to last year. So it's hard to like get a conclusion on that yet, but I feel like that's generally positive. But it feels like a tale of different companies, right? There's some people getting punched as well.
Yeah, completely agree. I will say I don't necessarily have a hot take, but I hope that it's a good sign. Again, even here at Grommet, like we are having, like you said, what was super interesting is it was at Grommet historically Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, like those 3 days were like the days. We did more revenue the first 2 weeks of December than we did Black Friday. So like it's been super interesting that it's morphed into a much longer period, both before Black Friday and then obviously going into the holidays up until the shipping cutoff date. So I'm hoping that it's good signs and we're moving in the right direction. We're going to end on this one. A lot of things obviously changing. We've got new presidents. We have potential tariffs. We have the TikTok ban, which you kind of touched on, maybe happening. We're having a what I think is a good sign in Q4. Will 2025 in the affiliate world, right? This could be e-commerce, ad, like whatever. In the affiliate worlds, we're talking to affiliates, talking to publishers, we're talking to marketers. Is 25 going to be an up year or a down year? Like where does your gut say that we're heading into in 2025?
I don't know. I feel like everyone calls for a recession every so often, man. It's nuts. I think I'm going to take the side of the optimism and the abundance and mindset. I think there's opportunity to optimize and improve kind of just management of things and how things are going. And I think there's a lot of excitement. Those things do take time though. I think our not to get too political, but our political system isn't always geared towards, there's plenty of fighting and slowing each other down and contradiction, which is concerning for progress. But I think overall, generally speaking, we've been very fortunate. We are very fortunate. We have some big opportunities, and I think that the positive is going to win. It's generally how I see it. I think it's going to do well, and I think we've done well in the past. I think as you think about the beauty of affiliate is there's just so many partners. You're basically you basically get to go after the world of partner opportunities across even offline, even traditional, even digital. There's always something new to chase. There's always something new that Google deems, oh, this is the quality that we're asking for. Well, guess what? Affiliates get to land on that, and they can do it multi-channel. They're not saying we're only Meta, we're only TikTok. TikTok's gone, fantastic. We're going to go after the 18 other channels we can go after. That's the beauty of affiliate. You get to be this like multi-channel kind of army to acquire for brands. So I like that. I certainly like there's people struggling and challenged and with credit card delinquency and auto stuff. And there's some mixed signals. And now that, you got the Fed saying they're not going to lower as much next year. I don't think that's necessarily the worst news. I think we're going to do well overall. I think we're going to continue to improve and figure it out. So that's my goal. I think affiliate is a great channel. It's been a highly efficient one. That's why we love it, why we talk about it. So I think brands are going to still love to go after that. Hey, I can get it on a CPA, maybe with some flat fee as well. That's going to be attractive for people, and they can do that through any channel. That's what makes it a fun, kind of multi-channel arm.
Yeah. One of the things you said is I'm a true believer in is that we figure it out, right? Like that's what affiliates do. That's what marketers do. That's what companies that stand the test of time do is like, look, the Google stuff, is it a challenge? Sure. But is it the first time Google's thrown a curveball our way? Absolutely not. Will it be the last time?
Exactly.
Absolutely not. Like, I joke that, when I was coming up, our band was huge on MySpace. And then one day MySpace was gone. Did the music industry stop?
Yeah.
No, we found new platform. Like, you figure it out. If you're good at what you do and you believe in what you're doing, you'll figure it out. And I think that's the beauty of the affiliate world. That's why, I love meeting people like you and going to conferences and, Affiliate Summit West is right around the corner. So we get to hang out and do some cool stuff. And so, yeah, I'm a big believer that speed of execution and figuring it out are the keys to making 2025 a great year. Tye, this has been a blast. A couple things. Round Barn Labs, give us a quick info on that. Who should reach out to you? And then also, how do we subscribe to the newsletter so we can get all of your tips and insights on a regular basis?
Awesome. Yeah, we'll hopefully drop the newsletter in the post, but it's the RBL Flywheel. I host it on Beehive. We're not on Substack yet. Beehive's been great, and it's been a lot of fun. And I loved getting the feedback and learnings from great readers and good friends and collaborators like yourself. And then, Round Barn Labs, we're fired up to be we won Boutique Agency of the Year in 2024 and top 30 global agency. It's been a pleasure. We've worked with a lot of great technology brands over the years like MetaQuest, Grammarly, and Atlassian, and got a great little boutique team that's growing, and we're hiring. We just made some offers out, and we're growing. So if people are interested in growing their B2B SaaS or tech brand or e-com brand and figure out a better way to run affiliate, let us know. But that's us. And LinkedIn's usually the best way to track me down.
Love that. Round Barn Labs, the RBL Flywheel. Tye, thanks so much, man. Enjoy the holidays and can't wait to reconnect in Vegas in a few weeks.
Can't wait, Greg. You're the man. Been a pleasure.
Thanks.